Joining me now is one of the great pioneers of rock and roll music. With hits like Blue Suede Shoes, he helped revolutionize the music business on his way to becoming the king of rockabilly. He is still performing and touring these days, and his newest record has just been released. The album is called Go Cat Go. It is a great pleasure to welcome this man here tonight. Carl, thank you for joining us, and welcome to our show.
Thank you,
Good to
Tom.
have you here. You are truly a child of the land, a boy from Tennessee. Tell us about your boyhood.
Well, it's probably sad to a lot of people, but it's all I knew. I grew up the son of a sharecropper, and we didn't have the luxuries of life, but as I lived through it and looked back, I had what was essential. I had a mom and dad and two brothers that loved me, and that's very important.
But you had a mom and dad who put you to work very early. You started picking cotton as a very small boy, 80, 65, 70 pounds of cotton a day.
You're right. You're right. And I wanted to be the first 10-year-old boy to pick 300 pounds of cotton. And my dad would take us to town to the grocery store on Saturday, and they'd say, "Buck, which one of them boys is going to get that 300 first?" He said that, and right there in the center. But it was psychology. He knew that if he said I would break my back to do it. And
then on Saturday nights, I read that you and your dad and your family would listen to the Grand Ole Opry coming in on the radio from Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right. We didn't have electricity in our little shack on the plantation we lived in, and we had a battery that run the radio. And that's the only kind of music my dad liked was country, so that's what I listened to.
And when you would hear it coming in on the radio, what pictures would snap through your mind as you imagined where it was coming from and who was playing it and what was happening in the room where it was being played?
Well,
where did your imagination go?
It was like another world. I could picture the stage of the Grand Ole Opry being as big as a football field, and rhinestones and Cadillacs and big houses, and those dreams just flooded my little soul. And I'd tell my brothers and my little playmates that I'm singing on Grand Ole Opry. They said, "You better learn how to drive a truck." But the dream wouldn't leave, you know. I really thought someday I would.
And when did you get your first musical instrument? I'm assuming it was the guitar.
Yeah, it was really, the guitar was, it was a Gene Autry. I know you've seen them little cheap things.
Sure.
And
don't you call Gene Autry cheap?
No. Don't
I'm kidding.
I'm sorry, Mr. Autry. You too, Tom.
I'm kidding.
The guitars were, they were mail order, you know.
Exactly.
And they cost about $12.95. My daddy, I wanted one so bad, and I don't really know why, but the guitar was made right and it just fit me. I loved it. And I'd go to people's houses. I'd stay all night with boys if they had a guitar there, just so I could, you know,
strum around, fool around, get to know your way around it.
One Saturday, my dad came home from town, and he had an old beat-up guitar. He had given $3 and the only chicken we had to an old black man by the name of John Westbrook. And this little boy named Carl Perkins was in heaven with that guitar. It fretted wrong, it was worn out, but it was mine. And that started the fire.
And your best friend growing up, did you have a best friend?
Oh, yeah.
And was he musical as well?
No, but he gave me the encouragement. When the little white boys that I'd play with would tell me I needed to start learning to drive a tractor or truck, said, "You never sing on the Grand Ole Opry." A little black boy by the name of Charlie that lived in the same kind of shotgun shack I did, he'd say, "Carl, I believe you will. I believe you will if you want to." And he was just wonderful. He was a great friend.
And how close a friend could you be to him, he being a black boy and you being a white boy? Because in those times, friendship between the races was not encouraged.
That's right. I wondered about it. When I'd catch the school bus, little Charlie had to catch another bus. And we'd go to town together on Saturday to see the cowboy western shows at the Strand Theater in that little town of Tiptonville. He had to go up to the balcony, but I would sit right under the balcony where he'd lean over And we saved Roy and Gene's life. Charlie'd say, he's behind that rock, Carl. The Indian. I'd live to tell the late and wonderful man, Tex Ritter, who was a country music great. I told him, I said, Tex, you don't know it, but I hollered and told you that Indian was behind that rock many times.
And how old were you when you started the band with your brothers, the Perkins brothers?
Well, let's see. I probably was around 14, 12 or 14. No, my older brother Jay was 2 years older, and I had a brother Clayton that was 2 years younger. And I began to want to play lead, what we called back in those days picking out the melodies. So I needed somebody to play rhythm so I could pick my little guitar. And I talked my older brother Jay in. I showed him some chords. He was not that much interested in it for a while, but then he learned he was a good rhythm player.
And the band caught on. Eventually you started playing on the radio.
Oh, yeah. We started playing honky-tonks first. My mama wanted us to play in church, and I said, Mama, they won't pay us nothing. So we played the tonks, and it was pretty rough, but it gave us a chance to make our music.
And when was the first time that you met Elvis Presley?
It was in 1954. Elvis was the first rockabilly to record in Memphis. And I went there I walked in, and I didn't know any difference. My approach was, I come down here to make y'all a record.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I never forget, Mr. Sam Phillips that ran Sun Record Company. He's, boy, I don't know, I got this new boy Elvis, and he's just all I can handle. I said, well, I don't try to copy him, but I play that same type of music too. So he listened to me, and he liked one of my songs, told me to go back home and get another song and come back. So I must have written 3 on the 70-mile ride back to Jackson. It didn't take long to come up with another. And I met Elvis, I guess I'd been on Sun maybe a month, and he walked in the studio. And after my record came out, well, Sam put Elvis and I together on a package tour. I would always open shows, and then Johnny Cash was the third to come along.
And didn't your brother say after you met Elvis the first time that he didn't think Elvis was going to make it?
Yeah, Jay was a real honest and truthful boy. I liked Elvis. I liked the way he moved. Jay noticed his fingernails were filed, and he had a little makeup on his bottom eyelashes. Jay said, oh, he's a sissy. He ain't gonna do nothing. They find out he's sissy. I said, Jay, you're wrong. This boy's got it.
Yeah.
He said, well, he can't play like you do. He don't play lead guitar. I said, but he don't look like I do either.